as he said, this knowledge has always been around. It's been held back from the Asiatics of North America. And what he did, he prepared chosen text for our people to aid, particularly the Moors of North America, who have been pretty much the deepest into darkness relative to social, economic, political, educational, in every walk of life. Yet they are the direct descendants of those ancient Sabian Moors, etc. So that's one of the motivations of me sharing chapter one. Also, because as I made the comment earlier, I brought that up in our last visit when you shared with us here at the House of Reawakening Minds the last time, the past, present, and future being in chapter one, although it's referred to as the creation and fall of man. There were some other things that we were talking about too, Dr. Naila, earlier concerning that, and if you had any comments on that you wanted to share, do so.
I'm just going to see if there are any questions or anything.
Sure. And one of the things I also did, years ago, when I got to quote Circle 7 Quran, because years ago, I had gotten a copy from Duriya Bey, Prime Minister Duriya Bey, who's, is Prime Minister now. Years ago, she shared hers with me. And just before I'd gotten that, when I visited, when I used to do contracting on a regular basis, a brother shared with me some of the literature from CMB registered in the Library of Congress, which I knew of, and I got some of the original text, etc. It was very interesting. Of course, as soon as I saw it, I just fell right into it because it's harmonic with your nature. If you're harmonic with nature, it falls right in, almost like those old pair of loafers type thing. So and I thought I'd share that with you all because I see as people talk, I see a lot of times people get confused, and I think even over the years, one of the reasons why I've always more or less leaned towards looking at scripture from a metaphysic point of view is because I find that so many people are still lost in the anthropomorphic view. So that's always been an angle that I've used to try to dissuade people from getting buried into the schismata that's designed by the priesthood with the anthropomorphic view as a mind control tool, which is why you don't see me pumping, that religious mentality, not because I'm not religious, because what they've been pumping in the name of religion wasn't religion, it was mind control. And so I wanted to share chapter one with you because if a being has an open mind, you can see it because it's even telling you what the culture is. It's literally telling you what the culture is. And it's telling you the fundamentals, operations of the physical man and the soul man, so that your concepts of what you'll call staged or just above and below correspondence, as you know, the rule in phenomena that operates on the earth, the rule of correspondence in Hermetic law is as above, so below. So as above, so below. So you have your Trinity up and your Trinity down in balance, which is Hex Alpha. And of course, there's a philosophy concerning that too. And those of you who know the culture know that these people, particularly in North America, Asiatic, African descent, who have been suffering multiple levels of abuse on, you name the area of social society, and they have suffered it. However, many of them don't know that they're descendants of the ancient Sabians. They'll hear the word people saying Jew all the time, Hebrew and Jew, in reference to Saba, but they won't tell you it's Saba, and they won't tell you that Hebrew and Jew is a cover-up for the Sabian Moors, etc. So, and many of the people who study and study well who already know that that Islam as a particular point of view is just simply a Coptic sect of Coptic Christianity of the ancient Sabian Moors. And so even people's concept of Islam and Christianity, for the most part, has been actually misrepresented by many people on many fronts. So once in a while, I'll mention that to people so they don't get caught up in that schism operations of thinking that they're more special than someone else, or that someone else is more special than they are. Because all of it has one root that has the same root, so that you don't get caught in the schisms. And also, this is comprehend why the prophet always said to the Moors, you must learn to love instead of hate, because one of the tools of the priesthood has always been keeping people challenging each other and rejecting each other based on whether they're Muslim, claim to be Muslim, Christian, Jew, or Confucius, etc. And for those who studied, you'll notice that he has all of that on your nationality card, because all of it is Sabian culture, because that's the truth. So I wanted to bring chapter 1 up to you to remove that argument that you see many people have, or create those schisms and divisionisms based on their misconceptions of the Circle 7 Quran and the misconceptions of even some of the angles on how we've been sharing the information and why certain angles we've used over the years to share this information, contrary to the anthropomorphic angle. It's not a rejection of people who are locked into the anthropomorphic angle. It is just to explain to them what it is, and then show you some proof within the Circle 7 Quran for those who have been only looking at it from an anthropomorphic perspective. It is not limited to that. Let's know that.
Question. Alan Cartwright asks, says, connecting the dots. Is that the reason why, or at least one of the reasons, the dark priesthood are hostile towards children, because they know somewhere, somehow, a champion can be summoned?
Absolutely correct. Glad you were using your insight. You know when you answered. You knew when you asked it. But I'm glad that you asked the question to share for many who, one, in their heart know that to be true, but don't have the courage to ask that question or even to make that statement. And it's absolutely correct. You're absolutely correct. Just two things, because many of the children, and particularly now, and this is particular for this energy time now, and this goes with the planes of life that you see mentioned in the Quran. So the planes of life are actually dimensions. So the cognizance of the human, as the human evolves within the energies of the cycles of the sun and the moon, a lot of these sensories will develop just like a flower. That's why it gives you the demonstration of the workings of nature in chapter 1. And he wants to shut them down before they awaken, because many of them are champions being brought to solve some of the problems at Midgard. And so this is why they want to kill them off. As a matter of fact, for many of you who probably never put it together, that's what the operations of Roe versus Wade was actually about. That was set up by the priesthood so they could kill off the children under the guise of helping women. And of course, many women who really haven't been using their divine mind fell for it and helped in the genociding of their own children, who also have been used for food. That's another part of the problems that we're dealing with today. And that's the truth. Thank you for that question and statement.
Let's see if there's no more comments.
And I'm appreciative that some of the people are beginning to demonstrate the courage to really ask the uncomfortable questions and make the uncomfortable truth statements that are necessary for helping to uplift fallen humanity. Thank you for that.
So, Jacaro Bilcaro ask, when is Kamala going to become pastor of the dead U.S. corporation?
She's already been that.
That's what someone else says. It's safe to assume she already is.
Yes. And that whole platform, while we discuss those platforms are really marking time for them, and also distraction. However, still a good analysis, because that which is above is below. And so they're doing what you call a minor puppet show of what's taking place in the ethereal world. And that's the truth.
Let's talk a little bit about, we were watching yesterday a press conference in it's supposed to be taking place in Geneva, and all of the inconsistencies of the press conference with, you know, the so-called head of the corporation that we saw in the place that this press conference was being held. I mean, and you know, you pointed out.
Oh yeah. Oh, the background.
Not only did we realize it was probably green screen, a video green screen in the back, but there were so many inconsistencies in what was running, you know, that you would never see with a person of his caliber. You know, those
part of the puppet show
breaches, if you will, in security, if it actually was happening.
Part of the puppet show. And most of you who respect your divine mind and who have been using your insight and your intuitive principles of your 7 Hermetic laws already knew, which is why we've told you like 3 years ago, you know, basically Trump was assigned. And those who could see it then and see it now. What you see, what we told you then is manifesting now. And he himself is still a figurehead.
At some level. Another question. Want to know what you think about the Juneteenth ritual?
Another diversion and distraction. Most everything that they have presented to pacify our people, to think they're giving them something or that they're honoring them in any kind of manner, is really to distract us. And usually when they have big affairs like that, particularly when they're putting people together, in the background, there's usually some heavy human trafficking activity taking place. And that's the real truth.
Now, you know that they made
it. If they really wanted to help the people, they would start off telling them the truth. Tell them about the land, the truth about the land, the truth about their corporation and their operations is a private corporation owned by the Jesuits, operated through the Roman Curia, controlled jurisdictionally by the members of the crown, known as the Circle Church and Chancery, which is your entire bar association members who are foot soldiers for the Bishopric of Rome, and operating with the artificial construct of the impersonating queen in their Trinity operations to turn everything that was Saba, into a dark ritual. And actually at the same time doing opposite absolute of what they project. And this is why we've been telling people for years, everything that they do, generally look at the fact that they're projecting. Keep that in mind. And whenever you're measuring what they do, always think impersonation, perpetration, de facto, semblance, simulacrum, prima facie, fakery, mockery, mummers, etc. That's how they operate. And for the most part, if you keep that in mind as a measurement, you can mostly see through everything that they're doing even before they start to do it.
Let's see, another question. Here's a comment. Mercedes Dickinson said the Library of Congress and the Smithsonian are closed.
Well, what does that tell you? The seat of the Roman goddess at the Maghreb, or the throne of the darkness, pretending to be light, has been for the most part, and is still being dismantled, which we told you about 4 years ago. Because remember, those of you who know about the Organic Act of Congress 1871, and of course the coup d'etat that took place 10 years before, has to do with much of the root foundation of the politics that has been taking place since the 1800s, perpetrated at North America and then projected out upon the rest of the civilized world. And so what you see, it's being dismantled, which we told you was happening under Trump.
Okay. Kiba Omar says, what is the remedy or / plan to quote unquote unite the various tribes?
The various tribes will be united. We've said this for years, and I'm going to repeat what I've said. The Moors will come together not because men and women have not been sacrificing their personal lives to try to waken them up or to try to share truths with them. They will not come together for a lack of actual knowledge altogether. They're going to come together out of pain, because the hybrid European, the impersonator, the fakery, the fake Jew will show them everything they need to know, because they're going to take every damn thing from you till you turn your hearts back to your ancient mothers and fathers and stop pretending that you all don't know your Moors. There it is. That's simple.
But Grand Sheik, there's so many
remedies. Let me come back with this.
Yeah, but there's so many factions. Yeah, but there's so many factions that are coming up with, I got the truth. No, I have the truth. No, we have the truth.
Isn't that part of the game?
They don't have the truth, but everybody has a piece of.
Isn't that part of the game? What is it one thing that we've always told the people? Have we ever told the people that we had all the answers, or did we always tell the people to trust themselves? And we give them established truths, established documents, established facts to encourage them to start rejecting the priesthood and the agencies that they thought was legitimate government, so that they would recognize for themselves that these demons and these powers and these fakers around them had no power except what you keep giving them. So you've been feeding them the energy to create weapons to destroy yourselves. So when you stop feeding the fake platforms, the fake religions, the fake philosophers, the fake leader guys, etc., they have no power because they're all parasitic. We told you multiple times that they're all parasites. So if you stop feeding the vampire, you start wearing turtleneck sweaters, you can walk in most caves and you come out pretty cool. Just don't wear low neck sweaters when you go in the cave in the darkness with these people. After a while, Vampy gets kind of weak when he don't have plasma. They don't call exploiters vampires for nothing. If you look in the dictionary, vampirism and exploitation, vampirism is a synonym of exploiter. That's why they're also referred to as bloodsuckers. And when you think that they haven't been bloodsuckers, you've underestimated them. And I think now many people around the world are beginning to recognize that that's not a metaphorical statement, but it has been actually both metaphorical and literal. This is the kind of pain that it's going to take to wake up humanity, because they keep believing the priesthood, and the priesthood, the collective body of priesthood, has been the demon, has been the Satan. Nobody wanted to accept that when we've been telling them this for years about the full pit. They defended them. you're going to find out a lot of people that you've trusted in the name of the Lord, like we always like to say. Get your heads together and, drink a lot of good water, eat good food, because you're going to have to handle a lot of ugly that's going to be exposed to you on multiple levels. But we don't have to do it because we don't want to deal with that energy. We'll let the hybrid European do it. Like the prophet said, I'm going to make the European tell you the truth. So pay attention to your radios and to your televisions, all these different levels of social media, and they will tell you everything except some of the most important parts, which you're going to have to figure out yourselves. But if you think it's going to be hidden, no, it's not. However, the more you comprehend about what's really going on, the more you can stay out of the way of the herd as they run over a cliff. Don't follow the herd. That's my advice to you.
How more people on that attention? Go back and see if there. Okay. LY, it says, wasn't sure if this was already covered, but why is the number 7 so significant to Moorish science?
Because it is more science. But when you're talking about 7, you're talking about this particular solar system. So it's Moorish science just happens to be